Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. Today is October the 18th, 2019. Strong hand. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Value your wealth in Bitcoin. One Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. Unconfiscatable. I'm offended by selling. Oh, yeah, you're getting a new show here every day, even when I am here in Sydney, Australia. Who knows what time it is here? Who knows what time it is where you are? But it is beautiful outside, and we have two people who live in Sydney who are Bitcoiners here. You guys know McCook very well, but some of you know Adriana Belotti very well because she has been on the show before. Oh, yes. Go back to 2017. She has returned her long anticipated and awaited appearance. She is back. Adriana, I can't wait to see you in person, but welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Adam. Pleasure to be here.
One of the many ladies of Bitcoin. Oh, there are many of them out there. Well, we will talk about that in a second. But first, let us get into Australia. What people, when I talk about Australia and I talk about Bitcoin, people bring up to me, Adam, aren't they making cash illegal there or something? Hass, what is up with that? What is up with that? Is that bringing people into Bitcoin? These rumors I've heard about cash?
They're not making cash illegal per se. But they are now starting to, they have made it illegal to make cash transactions over, I believe it's $10,000. So you're not allowed to, for example, go buy a beat up secondhand car with $9,000, like, $10,000 cash anymore. You're not allowed to do that. It has to go through official, bank check process and all of that. But it's a slippery slope. I can see them eventually one day banning all cash. This is how it all starts, creeping regulation. But for now, they have put in bans against cash transactions over 10,000. It may actually even be over 5,000. I'm not sure. I'll have to, it's 10, is it, Addy? Yeah.
All right. That is it's true. It's true. I guess when I'm here, I'm not going to be able to buy some used car for the $9,000 of Australian cash. I just happen to have it in my back pocket. but yeah, it is disturbing. And this is a beautiful Western free country. But be aware, the regimes like to monitor how you spend your money because they want to tax you, basically. They don't want you getting away with large transactions that they can't have a piece of the pie. So don't say you weren't warned, people. Get into the Bitcoin now, and you'll be able to get your beat up used car in the future with Bitcoin. Adriana, your thoughts on that situation? And more so, have you heard in the United States? I'd like to hear more about your thoughts on the taxing of Australians when it comes to Bitcoin, but also on that cash thing.
I think the government is still trying to figure out how they're going to tax this space. I think that's going to be more government work done about that next year. Largely, we had two things happen. The government taxed Bitcoin in a way that didn't support the industry at the very beginning, that they went back on it. Now they're looking at it, taking a more long stance and trying to see how things play out before they make a decision. So there will be some new regulation coming out in the future, but we don't know what that's going to be. But one thing that the government does well is they always they make an inquiry and they make an open inquiry so everybody can weigh in how they think this should go, and that they take everyone's opinion into consideration and do something that looks, at least, that is what the majority wants. So hopefully something good will come out of that.
All right, Bitcoin people, speak up. Speak up in Australia.
I'm not going to tax myself, so.
And you actually have met with some. I mean, you were in the capital of Australia. We're going to talk about that in a second. Actually, what went down there. Hass, any thoughts on the taxation of Bitcoin situation or regulation situation in Australia?
Look, I don't like the taxation. Don't see don't see how a good framework can be established that doesn't grandfather everyone in.
All right.
Because there's been a lot of Bitcoiners doing a lot of things illegal, not illegal, whatever. Like if you go by the rules of the book, you've got to keep every single Bitcoin address you've ever had and all. So if they want to go back and chase you, for something you did 5-6 years ago, where you couldn't have envisioned a world of taxation, and because it was effectively small change at that time, weren't keeping track of all your addresses and all that. So unless they're happy to grandfather everyone in, yeah, I'll let Adriana
I
chime
think
in.
in my experience, governments do not tend to look backwards. They're gonna implement some legislation moving forward. So I think that's why it's important to be part of the conversation, so you can, have your voice heard. Hopefully, they will do what's the best for the majority. But we have a government here that pays for medical bills, and we have good infrastructure. So tax is a good thing. We are a small country. So I mean, big country land size, small country population size. So I don't see tax as being a big problem, to be honest.
Well, I've always got it. In America, we've been having some issues with the IRS and them defining how it's going. They haven't been very clear, to say the least. And it's because I don't think they understand the entire situation. So, I mean, this leads to a question. Adriana, you were the Parliamentary Friends of Blockchain reception at Parliament House. You were
Yes.
at. Okay.
Yes.
So tell us about your experience. You've been talking to these government officials in Canberra. I can't pronounce the
Canberra.
Canberra. That's the capital of Australia, people. Pound that like button. All right, tell us what happened in the capital of Australia when you were hanging out there.
Two things happened. So I was there on Monday. It was my first time at this event. I think that the first edition was last year. It was largely put by a group of senators that are interested in learning more about this technology, and ADCA, our Australian Digital Currencies Association, which has now merged with Blockchain Australia, which used to be Bitcoin Association of Australia. So long story short, they have this once a year meeting where they acknowledge people that are doing work in the industry by giving like a fellowship certificate to the association. And that what was the party was about. That was in the evening. So most importantly, in the afternoon, we had a meetup, the first official Canberra blockchain meetup with the Department of Innovation and Science, Industry, Innovation and Science. And they're developing a national blockchain roadmap to look at use cases of blockchain tech for government and for the benefit of the people. I think the first ones they are looking into something to do with exports and also KYC and credentials. So, sorry, there was a call coming. Yeah, we had this meetup, and there were about 100 people from all over the country there, and there's going to be a report coming out soon that will be available for everyone.
So do you think the senators know what they're talking about here? Do you think they got a good grasp?
Not all of them, but the ones that support this event, they are across this, and there's more and more people having this conversation. So I think they will at some point be more informed. Absolutely.
All right. Now, what's your shirt mean there? You've got a Bitcoin Sydney shirt on.
Oh, I have this shirt for 3 years now. This is one of the original meetups in Australia, the one that I am, me and Haas, we're now taking that forward. It was founded by Jason Williams, who incidentally was also the founder of the Bitcoin Association of Australia back in 2013.
So question for both of you. How has it evolved since 2017, let's say, since the last time Adriana was on the show? How has your group evolved since then? And you have more members? Is there more interest now? Are people into altcoins? What's this? Because it's called Bitcoin Sydney, but I know, Adriana, you've done some stuff in Ethereum before too.
I do. Oh, there's different meetups, right? Bitcoin Sydney. is mostly Bitcoin. There's a fork of Bitcoin Sydney, which is the other Bitcoin Sydney, which is the maximalists meetup. There's Ethereum Sydney. Haas is a member of that. I'm a member of that too. It's
So
just
we
a
overlap on both.
conversation. It's different conversations. There's blockchain professionals where we talk about technology. We try to look at all the projects and see what's happening, if they're going in the right direction. We just avoid talking about ICOs, but mostly is conversations about the technology.
All right, Haas, what are your thoughts on how things have changed, or your thoughts on the meetup itself?
My preferred meetup is I like hanging out amongst my flock. So you can always catch me with the toxic maxis. So yeah, as good as avocados, the best kind of avocado you can get, the Haas avocado.
And he's Haas. Pound that like button. That's why this thing is out, baby. But I come prepared. I come prepared. Yeah. Well, let's talk about Monday. Actually, the premiere of that movie. That is, you guys have been promoting this. Haas, do you have anything to say about that? I know Adriana's got a lot to say about that. But,
yeah, Torsten's is a good old friend from mine. Go back all the way to 2013. Great filmmaker. Yeah, looking forward to the sequel. So judging by the trailer, it looks like there's a very big element of compare and contrast. Looks like it might be quite the dramatic film. So keen on watching it. We'll see.
It's going to come out in 2020. We're going to see it on Monday. This is a big Bitcoin film that we're getting insider, and anyone can come see to this event. You can get a ticket to the event. I'll link to the information below on Monday. Adriana, explain the whole thing to us. Explain it all to us. What is this movie called and everything?
So this movie is called Cryptopia, Bitcoin, Blockchains, and the Future of the Internet. It's a big title, and it's a follow-up to Torsten's first documentary called Bitcoin, The End of Money, that was launched in 2015, I think. And I haven't seen the movie. I've talked about it a lot in the past few months, but I'm gonna see with everyone else on Monday firsthand. So I'm really looking forward to it. I know that he interviewed some people that were in the original movie, and like as a follow-up interview to try and understand what's happening in crypto. But I don't know, Torsten is a Bitcoiner at heart, so I'm pretty sure there'll be a good Bitcoin flavor to it.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get him on the show at some point so that the whole world can find out about this video. Hopefully, this movie. Now, I'm confident. I've got confidence that it'll be good for the space. You know, very professionally done and everything. So I'm looking forward to seeing it and looking forward. Hopefully, I don't want to get everybody's hopes up, but hopefully he will appear on the show. Pound that like button if you want to hear about. You want to see the movie maker on the show. Okay, now.
We will be.
So let's talk about Libra, because that's been in the news lately. I want an Australian take on Libra, because a lot of people think it's all about the United States Congress and Senate giving them a hard time, and if they let this happen, then it will happen. But a lot of people think that the United States government is going to hold back Mark Zuckerberg. What's your take on Libra? Will it get more people into Bitcoin? Do you care? What's the Australian perspective?
So the Australian perspective for anyone like me that grew up in like the 90s here in Australia, when we hear the word Libra, we associate it with Libra Fleur tampons.
I'm being a girl, I still do. So.
Right. So I don't know if that, because they were basically the Kleenex of tampons back with all the TV ads. So yeah, that's what I think of Libra. Really, I think they should just maybe just make their own wallet and allow Bitcoin and Lightning on it, and they instantly have 2 billion users, and they can charge a couple of Satoshis withdrawal fees and make a lot of money. Yeah, but that's on them to figure out strategically, not me.
Yeah, that was actually a congressperson said something like that without the tampon stuff. But that I think we should make a clip out of you talking about tampons and Libra. That is because most of that's a funny one. Most Americans they did not know it, but we have just learned something. You get insider Libra information here. It was a tampon. Wow, that is, you learn new things.
It was like the major brand.
You're in Australia. You just have to go to the supermarket and film all the Libra on the shelves.
Still there.
Wow, they should have took that into consideration when coming up with a name. I mean, again, Australia it's not the biggest population in the world, but well, that's the thing. Libra says it's going to help free up people that don't have access to the modern financial system, and people in Australia do. So they don't care what maybe they don't care about what Australians think about with the name. They didn't do well.
I think they went with Libra just as a another star sign to take a dig at Gemini.
Yeah, maybe.
My personal conspiracy theory.
Oh God, the conspiracy. I was just talking about conspiracy theories on another show. All right, Adriana, your thoughts on Libra? Is it a good thing to come up with a centralized cryptocurrency like this?
I think it was inevitable that someone was gonna do it. I don't have any firm opinions. I didn't read the white paper. I'm trying to keep my distance from it. There's a group in Australia that sort of like formed a Libra association. So they're gonna try and have an Australian node in the pie, just because I guess if this thing's gonna happen, it's good to understand how it's going to work. But I'm not involved in that, although someone who works with me is. But yeah, I don't really have strong opinions about
Actually, what you just brought up was very newsworthy. Because I noticed the same thing when I was in Israel, that people made up their own Libra groups that want to work with Libra before it even exists. It's amazing. So a lot of us in the Bitcoin space, we have this mindset: who would want to work with a centralized corporate cryptocurrency? But naturally, in countries as different from Israel and Australia, and I'm sure in America too, people they want to be part of this because they know that Facebook is it's a tremendous. If it was a country, it would be a tremendous country. It'd be a very wealthy, big country. So that is actually quite newsworthy. That yet in another Western country, in Israel and here, that someone's coming up with their own Libra group before there is even a Libra. Because again, in the Bitcoin space, we have so many people saying, "Oh, it's so bad, it will never be approved," and that's why I say this is where the big boys play. Let them compete. If people want to be a part of that, let them be a part of it. Let them in. If they're going to innovate over there, let them innovate. And I think it will get more people into Bitcoin. So I hope the United States Senate and Congress stops giving him a hard time and just, I don't know what they want out of Zuckerberg. And I'm sure a few people here are like, Adam, why do you talk about it all? Well, first of all, it's in the news, but it will, we'll look back on this one day. And if they pull this off, it will be the first major corporation to come up with their own money and really venture in like hardcore into cryptocurrency. So I think it is a positive thing, but at the same time, you could look at it as a tampon throwaway thing also. That is the beauty of life.
Something to control the flow.
Oh, pound that like button. We are getting a female perspective. I did not count on this. I'm leaving. Oh man. Wow. All right. So Adriana, you're from
speechless. Absolutely speechless.
First of all, I want to.
I see a t-shirt coming. Control the flow.
Oh my God. Oh, my pound that like button. Oh wow, we're getting. This was not like the last show you were on. We've gone wild. We've lost it here. So Adriana, I remember something specifically about you. You're born in Brazil, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so how many years did you spend there?
Oh, I guess the first 30.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know how long. So it's fresh in your mind. It is the situation there, the financial situation there. Did that influence you at all to get you into cryptocurrency? How?
Yes, of course. I guess when I first learned about Bitcoin back in 2013, it was easier for me to understand, this new money concept, because in my own country, I've had 3 different currencies through my lifetime. So when you see government money mismanagement in that level, it's easier to understand. I'm sure Haas, being from Lebanon, has the same opinion. We have had this conversation many times. So it is easier when you live in a country that has financial problems and has had hyperinflation and economic problems. It's easier to understand the need for Bitcoin.
Do you have connections to Brazil still? Any? Do you get crypto news from there at all?
I do, actually. I try to keep informed. They're trying to use blockchain in government there to track government spending. So that's going to be one thing. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But I did buy my mom a Bitcoin book when it first came, one in Portuguese. So even my mom knows about it. So, and she's 80. So people are getting aware of how it's there. And as it's happening in whole Latin America, people who have the means, they're having a little bit of the pie, their savings pie in Bitcoin because they're smart.
Well, you specifically mentioned the Portuguese language, and because of that, Brazil it's beyond being part of the Latin American Bitcoin community. It's part of the Portuguese-speaking cryptocurrency community. Have you noticed an increase at all in the Portuguese language resources available out there? Because I've had people from Mozambique, Angola, Portugal try to contact me, especially the African countries, because they really need it there. But for a time, it seemed like it was lacking. Do you stay in touch with that side of things? Do you think there's more Portuguese information out there now?
That's a really good question, and I wouldn't know the answer because I speak English. So, but there, I do see that there are a few more books that have been translated. I think Andres' books have been translated into Portuguese now as well. So hopefully, yes. And there's the community is growing. So the peer-to-peer, like we have here with the meetups and everybody talking at a pub or whatnot, it's what, takes this forward anyways.
All right. Now, Haas, I revealed on my Thursday show that yes, his family was from Lebanon originally. From Lebanon. So give us that perspective on what the people have experienced in Lebanon and what Bitcoin does for people like that. I mean, now it's a state controlled by other countries, basically.
So do you want the version that we chatted about in the car, or the version that started 6 hours ago?
6 hours? What was 6 hours ago?
Particular revolution in Lebanon has commenced.
It has?
So, people are in the streets and they said, we're not going home until this government leaves.
This is really going on?
That same crooks since 1990. They're putting a tax on WhatsApp now because the telecom companies are losing money.
Whoa, man. I got to keep, I don't even know what time it is, man. I got to.
Yesterday, they announced the tax and the people were like, that's it. We're done.
On what? But I mean, how? Okay, so tell us.
So I'll tell you how they got to that point.
Yeah.
So so Beirut is the longest continuously inhabited city in history. It's been going for about 7,000 years, and I don't even think it's had 7 days of peace in that 7,000 years. But anyway, in the mid 1970s, there was a big civil war in Lebanon. Not going to really get into like the details of the origins of it, but one of the side effects of the Lebanese civil war was the hyperinflation of the Lebanese lira. So my dad was already poor, so he didn't get affected by hyperinflation. But my mom's family on the other side were, you could call them upper middle class. My grandfather was like a general trader, import, export goods, furniture, that kind of stuff. Upper middle class, one day, and then the next day, your inventory that's denominated in the lira, worth nothing. You've spent 40 years building your business, all of that kind of stuff, and one day you wake up broke. And it's something that you have to live through to appreciate. So I wasn't born at the time of hyperinflation, I came soon after when the lira got pegged to the US dollar, and the peg has been stable for something like 25, 26 years up until 3 months ago. The peg started to slip, and Lebanese banks are giving 14% interest on US dollar deposits because basically the country's broke, and now they're looking to tax WhatsApp to get more money.
Wow.
So this is what happened. So Lebanon is the perfect example of. So also the warring warlords in the civil war, they all made an agreement with themselves that they'll be the politicians. They split politics over sectarian lines, and all the politics now in Lebanon is hereditary. So a warlord retires, and like his son just comes and takes his seat. So like, how can you trust such a government with your money and all of that kind of stuff? But unfortunately, the on-ramps in places like Lebanon are still terrible. I don't know what the on-ramps are like in Brazil. Maybe Adriana, you might know more about that.
They're better. They have some big exchanges in Brazil. They have big exchanges in Brazil.
Exchange. They do have 3 or 4. I'm not across.
But Lebanon has nothing. How do they get Bitcoin in Lebanon? Do you know?
I think there's actual, or you can get anything in Lebanon, mate. It's the black market capital of the world. But I think either there's official guidance from the Lebanese central bank warning against its use, or potentially even a ban. But I don't have any friends in Lebanon anymore. So I went to high school there. Don't have any friends there anymore. Everyone's left. And the reason any of them have any crypto is because they live in either the Middle East, Europe, or America, and they have access to exchanges. But for some reason in the UAE, in the Middle East, for some reason they're all ripplers, and I'm not sure why.
Oh man, I'm not sure why either. Whoa, well, that's weird. Now wait, the one thing I guess we should say about Lebanon is, if this WhatsApp protest is going on, wow, get people. If you get anything on the black market there, dudes, if you're listening, Lebanese, get yourself some Bitcoin now. Preserve your wealth. But this is a worldwide thing. They will need it. Well, they need it now. They need it now. Now again, here in Australia, they don't need Bitcoin. You don't need Bitcoin. You can everyone's connected to the financial markets here, and but a place like Lebanon that could be falling apart, well, that is constantly falling apart all the time and is controlled by who knows who really controls it. Yeah, now would be a good time. Very interesting news that you learn.
We need Bitcoin too. What do you mean we don't need Bitcoin? We all need Bitcoin.
Well,
yeah.
Need is like
must.
Like when I say it's like a life or death situation type need. That's what I mean. We could.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just being facetious.
We could live our life pretty well here. I mean, but that's it. Some people in Australia, they might be cut off from banks. That if you get cut off from the banks because you said something wrong and they don't want to do business with you, which is happening to some people in America. Yeah, then you need it. But
I got cut off from the bank on Thursday. Not because they were censoring me, because they were incompetent and their systems went down. Commonwealth Bank of Australia down for like half a day.
There's a real life example of why Bitcoin's better. Bitcoin never goes down.
Some people got cut off from the banks because they were using Bitcoin.
True, that as well. But this one was a 100% bank fail, and like CBA, I bank. You know, like I'm saying, I was affected because I bank with CBA, but CBA is the gold standard of banks in Australia, and they went down.
Yeah, that's hey, and you bring up a good point, Adriana, about some banks will cut people off for they don't want to do business with Bitcoin businesses. But hey, if you got the Bitcoin, then you preserved your wealth. I think some of these banks over time will change. They will incorporate Bitcoin. They will become Bitcoin banks. So, but right now, yeah, if you're running a Bitcoin business, I've heard, I guess not in America, and I guess in Australia also, they don't want a thing to do with you at times. So we'll see how that develops. Well, we're getting toward the end of the show here. I want to hear about first I'm going to read this off here. $17 trillion are currently held in negative interest bonds. 17 trillion reasons why you should own Bitcoin. Has your thoughts on negative yielding bonds and what it means for Bitcoin? If this is this should be a big wake up call, in my opinion.
Should be a big wake up call, but it won't be. And typically, the 80%ers will only move when they need to, and hopefully for them, it won't be too late when the need to arises.
Okay, let's talk about the future. What are some future predictions here? Or continue with that.
Well, like you can't print money to infinity like you can be. You end up like Zimbabwe. So eventually, the 17 trillion of negative yielding debt will become 20, then 30, then 50. Then what? Then what? We'll all be earning, $1 million a year, but a house will cost $1 billion.
Yeah. Well,
I've earned $1 million. I've earned $1 million before. I've earned 1 million Cruzeiros back in 1990 something when it was my first job.
Fancy. A million straight out of school.
Straight out of school, straight out of high school, not even uni.
LeBron James style, straight out of high school to the pros.
Some people will be some people like that. Yep. All right, Adriana, what are anything that I left off of today's show that you want to promote, you want to bring up?
If you're watching from Australia, come to Cryptopia on Monday night.
All right,
it's gonna be great. We got
I'll say on Event Cinema, but link will be there. Also, come to our meetups, right, Haas?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Haas, your conclusionary thoughts.
Thanks for having us on as always. Thanks, Adriana, for joining us. Adriana's a very old friend of mine. I was talking yesterday about my struggles through the bear. Adriana was one of those people that held it down for me during the bear, so I appreciate her a lot.
Well, Adriana,
I didn't have any finger on the pie at the time, so.
Adriana, you're a strong hander then. You don't sell.
No, I don't sell, but I don't hold a lot. I have a little bit. That theory that you shouldn't bet more than you can lose.
Yeah.
So the jury's still out for me. So I have my little Bitcoin stash and my superannuation, which is a local thing. But yeah, I'm hodling.
All right, very good, dudes. That is it. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember, subscribe to the channel, like this video, share this video, check out the links below. Pound that like button, bang that bell button. Thank you, guests. They're all linked to below. The movie's linked to below. Shabbat Shalom. I will see you guys on Saturday night. New show here every day. Thank you all. And
thank you.
Good night. See ya. Bye-bye.